Hey all, I'm out here in nature and come out here sometimes and I touch grass. um, but I wanted to, I thought I would use this as a backdrop because it's a little more refreshing of a backdrop to see than my usual videos in my car, in my room, or whatever. I just hope that the wind doesn't make my voice illegible, ill-hearable, inaudible. That's the word I was looking for. I want to talk about a song that it just struck me the other day that there was really something to say about the the malignant mediocrity of this particular song. The song is by Phil Collins, and it's called "Billy, Don't Lose That Number." Um, Now, this song makes me think of Phil Collins and what it was like uh, to listen to the radio in the 1980s. Most of you are too young to know this, but in the 80s, especially the mid 80s, I don't think anyone ruled the airwaves more than Phil Collins. And the thing is, I know that he's talented. I know that he made some good music with Genesis and also solo. But it seems like the music that they played of his during this period was largely not very good. It was disposable, is a word that I would use to call it. And yet it was all really popular. Like, everybody loved Phil Collins. It's hard for me to describe this. Like hating Phil Collins in 1985 and 1986. It's hard for anyone to relate to that. And it may have been hard for people in the 80s to relate to that, because why would you hate Phil? Well, because he's on the radio all the time, and the songs they keep playing aren't very good. You know, I'm thinking of Susudio, Against All Odds, that dippy ballad, cheesy ballad, or some other songs of his. Easy Lover, She's an Easy Lover. I don't think any of these songs are bad per se, but they're not good. I would say Phil Collins was good. I'd say In the Air Tonight is a classic. No dispute from me on that point. And he's done some other good songs. He did some good songs, as I said, with Genesis. I think he's talented. I mean, I think dude is, he knows how to play drums. He knows how to play other instruments. I guess he's got a good voice. It's never appealed much to me, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to concede that he's talented and that he did good music. But but you have to understand, this was a period of time where you could not avoid Phil Collins, and where everybody loved Phil. Like, he was the blandest thing out there. There was a lot of bland music, but his music was from this period was just aggressively bland. And that might sound like a contradiction. That might sound like an oxymoron. But as the water boat, as the night boat drifts past, I'm waiting for the night boat. Some of you will get that, some of you won't, even though it's not nighttime. I just missed it. But anyway, speaking of non-mediocre music from the 80s. So, I don't know. Phil had his thing going. Like during Live Aid, he played a set in London, and then he flew to Philadelphia and played a set there, and people thought, wow, that's amazing. And I guess it was impressive that he did that. Okay, I'm conceding everything that there is to concede, but really, you just have to understand what I'm saying here. Like, understand my hatred of Phil Collins, which I no longer have. I no longer feel viscerally about Phil Collins any particular way. But during that time period, he was so loved, and his music was so bland, and it was so ubiquitous, that it was like, what in the world, what enchantment has been cast on the world that they think these songs are good? like, like how can you be enthusiastic about songs like these? It was beyond me. But I think Billy Don't Lose That Number was the nadir. I think that's how you pronounce that word, right? Nadir. Somebody out there is going to correct my pronunciation. I know it. No fighting it. It was the low point. Out of all of his totally mediocre songs, this was the most mediocre. Now, let me. I'm sort of going. I don't really have a set course of discourse here, but let me just start with the fact that I don't know what the song is about, and I don't care. That's the thing. It's like there's some involved storyline about somebody named Billy, who's a good guy but who's in trouble, and Phil or whoever the speaker in the song is saying, giving him encouragement, but also saying, "Don't lose my number." I don't know why it's so important that Billy holds on to Phil's number, but the thing is, I don't care either. I don't care at all. When I'm listening to the song, I just think, when is the song going to be over so I can hear another song? So it's like there's some convoluted plot line to it involving some character named Billy, but I'm totally uninterested in figuring it out, even though I'm usually interested in if something is obscure or cryptic. That's usually a good way to get me to be interested. But in this case, no, not interested. Don't care who Billy is. Don't care why he shouldn't lose Phil's number. Don't care what the trouble that he's in. I just want the song to end. Okay. There's something about the manner of recording this song, like the drum machine effect. It's heavily synthesized and all that. And I'm not against synthesizers. I don't think, this isn't real. This is just artificial music. We need guitars and, that's real music. I'm not that kind of guy. And there are guitars in the song, but it's very heavily produced. I would say overproduced. Okay, to the point where it's just, again, very bland, but more than usual Phil Collins bland from this era. I think Sussudio is bland. I think Against All Odds is bland. I think Easy Lover is bland. I could probably think of some other songs of Phil's from that era, but nothing compares to Billy Don't Lose My Number. All right. So you have this aggressive, like I said, very aggressive blandness. Like these drum machines are coming in, do 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 do, but it's not grabbing you at all. It's not like the ding do 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 do, from in the air tonight. Something that really like, whoa, what's going on here? What's happening here? This is intense. I want to hear the story of what went down, that in this, that's being described in this song. But very, very opposite in Billy Don't Lose My Number. And yet I think the song may have been a top 10 song. I know it was successful. I know there was a video for it that was supposed to be funny, but again, to me, it was just sort of like, all right, this is just boring, but worse than boring. That's what I think of. There's like it makes me think, and I'm half serious when I'm saying this, that there's some kind of spell that's cast by this song. There are some songs that make good background music, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with background music. But this is a song that somehow grabbed people's. I don't know how it grabbed people. It grabbed people's interest. They bought it. It was in the top 40. I think it was in the top. Like I said, probably in the top 10. You certainly heard it on the radio enough. Saw it on MTV a whole lot. But I just think there might have been something evil about this song. There might have been something, I don't know, and this is just my headcanon, talking here. I don't have anything to base this on, except just reflecting on that song, reflecting on how uninteresting it is, how aggressively mediocre it is, how it's about some story that's supposed to be really interesting about some guy named Billy who's really in trouble and who needs to, I don't know, fight to survive maybe. But all of that's taking place within this milieu of this song that's just boring as hell. And it's competent. It's competently made. You can tell that it was made by professionals. But it was like the professionals just said, okay, how can we make this song as forgettable? Well, not exactly forgettable, because we didn't. I haven't forgotten it. So I guess there's something about it that still grabs you, it still hooks you, even though you don't want to be hooked. It's one of those things where, there's some songs that hook you, and it's like, oh yeah, this is fun. That's so catchy. Yeah. Doom, doom, doom. Another one bites dust. Just as an example, like, you're like, man, this is really fun. I want to hear this song 1,000 times. Some songs are like that. They get overplayed because people want to hear them. Because there's something so infectious about their they say earworms or whatever. There's something so hooky and so catchy, and that's good. That's what pop music ought to be. That's what music ought to be. It ought to be something that grabs you and makes you want to listen, and that's something that for pop music, something that's fun to listen to, and that you want to hear over and over and over again. And then of course, it gets worn out because it gets overplayed, because everybody wants to hear it, and then everybody gets sick of it. That's more the natural course of a pop hit. But something like Billy Don't Lose My Number, whatever it is, whatever the title is, I don't even care. It's probably got some parentheses in it or something. Billy Don't Lose My, quote in parentheses, lose my number, or something like that. Lose, parentheses, my number. This is like a song that's just so, again, I don't know what they were up to with this song. Is it just were they just trying to see how far they could go in making a song really boring and really uninteresting, but having somebody who is talented and who is famous and who's really having his moment right now, right? So, like, Phil Collins could just, belch in 1985, and it's a hit. So, are they just seeing how much can we get away with here? How crappy can we make this song, uh, and it still be a hit? I mean, I can't help but wonder something if it was some kind of experiment like that. And I know that sounds kooky to some of you, but I honestly don't. I don't have any other explanation for that song existing, much less being a song that's still a hit, much less being a song that you still hear. I mean, I heard it in the grocery store the other day, and that makes sense, because they try to play songs that are annoying in the grocery store. They try. That's the strategy. They want to get you, to buy stuff, and they want to agitate your mind so that you keep buying stuff, and then they don't want you to get relaxed and just singing along, because then you're not focused on consumption. They want to play songs that bug you, so that you want to get out of there, but you want to get so you want to be more compulsive about throwing things in your cart. I mean, I think that's the mentality with grocery store music. A little bit different than elevator music, but anyway. Anybody have any thoughts? Am I totally wrong? Did you just think, like, if I'd really like to hear from somebody who just thinks Billy Don't Lose My Number just rocks so hard. It's like, yeah, whenever I hear that song, it's like I feel happy to be alive. When that song comes on, I never feel more alive. I just want to go. I just want to say. I just want to, sprint to the top of Mount Everest, and just pump my fist, and say, yeah, 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 yeah. When I hear Phil Collins sing "Billy Don't Lose My Number," I want to hear from you if that's you, because it's definitely not me. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Leave your comments below.